Now, the children of Israel, a nation created by God, named after the name God gave to Jacob. They were living and worshiping now other gods. They were not faithful to God. For every action you take, there will be a reaction. That's life. For every action we take, we cause a reaction. We cause a reaction in our lives. We cause a reaction in somebody else's life. Every action you take, will always cause a reaction. Their action was to worship other gods. Their action was to sacrifice to other gods. Their action was to do the will of other gods who were no gods. That was their action. Now the reaction. They lost God's favor from their lives. When you have God in your life, you have His favor. When you don't have God in your life, you cannot have His favor. You have His favor for as long as you are with Him. Yes. If you are far from Him, you are far from His favor. That's why the Bible says, I set before you today life and death, blessing and curses. Then He says, choose life, so you and your descendants may live and multiply. Because He knows if you choose Him, you're choosing the benefits which come together with Him. Are you understanding? Some people, they think like this, all I want is God's blessing. You cannot have His blessings without having Him. Am I making sense to you? You cannot have His blessings if you do not have Him. You cannot have His help if you do not have Him. So here the people did not have God. They chose to have other gods. And together with their choice came the reaction. There was no rain for 3.5 years at the word of Elijah. And Elijah came back to Israel. In 3.5 years, there were children who died. In 3.5 years, there were properties lost. In 3.5 years, there was plenty of troubles and sorrows. In 3.5 years, without rain. Parents had to bury their children. Husbands had to bury their wives. Rich people became poor. Poor people even poorer. Because of the reaction, result of their action, of going away from God. So Elijah came to change that situation. So he said, how long will you falter between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow Him. But if Baal is God, you have the right to follow him. But then comes to their mind, how will we know? How will we know who is God? How will we know who is God? Baal or the Lord? Then Elijah said to the people, I alone am left, a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophet are 450 men. Therefore, let them give us 2 bulls, and let them choose 1 bull for themselves, cut it in pieces, lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it. And I will prepare the other bull, and lay it on the wood, but put no fire under it. Then you call on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God who answers by fire, He is God. The God who answers by fire, He is God. So the people answered and said, it is well spoken. So Elijah let the prophets of Baal go first. Go first. They went first for there to be no doubt. Because if Elijah went first, the fire would have come down from heaven. And the prophets of Baal would have said, well, Baal could have done the same thing. Do you understand what I mean? They could have said, well, Baal has the same power. If you would have let us go first, you would have seen. So for there to be no doubt, Elijah said, you go first. That means dependence on God, trust in God. Knowing, he knew that Baal was nothing. If Baal was something, as he was considered, pay attention to this, he was regarded as the god of the rain, the dew, and fertility. If Baal was God, he would have sent rain, which is common, which is normal. When Elijah said there would be no rain, so if he could not send rain, how could he send fire? If he could not send what's normal, what is usual, how could he send what was impossible, improbable, to say the least? So Elijah said, you go first. And they went from morning to afternoon, cutting themselves, praying. There was no answer. Nobody was there to behold. And there are many people who do like the prophets of Baal. They pray a lot. They make their sacrifices to other things, to other gods, to no ending, to no result. Nothing happens, nothing changes, nothing gets better. Pay attention, this nothing gets better. You pray, you are devoted to your gods, you are devoted to your saints, you are devoted to them, and nothing happens. There is no answer. Friends, God is opening your eyes. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. If your behavior towards God changes, His behavior towards you will also what? Change. God gives back to us what we give. Reflects back to you. Elijah said, you go first. They went first. There was no answer. There was no answer. Albert Einstein said like this, madness, the theory of madness is to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. The theory of madness, according to Einstein, doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting a different result. He said it is madness.